I want to be able to have fun with these table settings and kind of get looser and looser if I can. The mantra of 2024, is it going to be looser and looser? Like I think I was trying that last year, and so it goes on. Maybe I'll never let that go. I'm not sure, because maybe it's a quest for somebody who takes things and becomes more controlled or concise or overwork. Maybe sometimes that may be one of the biggest difficulties for us, is to have our work be loose. So that's the challenge, and I'd be interested if you have that same challenge or the desire to loosen, but it's not your natural way. It's interesting, isn't it? I think it's common for a lot of artists. You hear that term a lot. I just want to get looser. You really do hear that a lot, and I hear it a lot from myself, inside and from my voice. So I've got these 4 paintings now. These bottom 2, I just worked on last week. They just had a background or a previous painting. It was a bit abstract and it just wasn't working for me. So I just made them into backgrounds and then came in and made shapes with them. These 2 here I did already last year, and this one here I really loved, really happy with that. And so I guess I'm sticking with the similar color palette. So these could all then hang together. They can go as a group to a show, or to, you know, there's things coming up this year. So I wanted to just have a little look at these together as they're in this formation, and they're in the questioning place. I got all excited and did these shapes and things in here, so reminiscent of these gum leaves over here, and just sort of playing with wonky shapes, wanting them to be a little bit odd. I'm happy with that, and I think I've talked about it before. When you have a lot of the same, and what will help to bring out more in the painting is to bring about more differences. So one way I'm considering doing that, and I just went and got this little card. I'm reminded of another painting I made, and I was doing a similar sort of a setting in a way. So the cup and saucer, I think they began as just shapes like these here, and then I decided to bring about differences to bringing full color to those. So I am contemplating doing a teapot that might be those blue and white stripes. That's what's coming to mind to think about, because I quite love the vase behind, that it's got these interesting marks already in it. But when you have too much doing that, nothing really stands out anymore. There's also this interesting thing, because I remember the underpainting of this, it really looked like this big blue dragon, and that wasn't really in keeping with the kind of art that I was making, so I didn't keep it. But I kept it for a long time. I enjoyed this crazy blue dragon, but anyway, it's still here. It's got a different life. As I'm editing, I just couldn't help it. I thought I'd have to show you this. I went to an event. I can't remember. I think it was the end of last year. And there's a lady there doing readings. And this is the card that I pulled, and she gave me a bit of a reading. And the blue dragon was what she was talking about before I even pulled this card. So yeah, interesting. And then this one, I was trying to really go kind of do these messy flowers. I had started out, I thought I might do the similar technique to this, because it's one of my favorite things to do, is to find the shapes, and they are more spontaneous how they are. But this one, because I had quite a very dark background, I thought it would be fun or good to do lighter foliage that would come forward. But as you can see, it's still not quite. So I'm now debating whether to do a pale background or dark, deep, rich, dark background. And then there's the dark table, which is sort of bronzy and kind of moody and interesting. But then so is the vase. So you see how I've got to make some choices. Sometimes you have to choose. If I want the bronzy kind of deep, dark, moody vase, then do I have the same on the table? Because then they just meld into each other, which can be okay if you don't want your eye to be really going there. Like the eye sort of goes to that bowl of apples and I want it to pop up here to the flowers. And then because I really love these mottly interesting backgrounds, I find it sad to lose that, because if I was to paint all of that and just make a wall, it becomes to me potentially flat and maybe even boring. So I sometimes like the idea of creating either a framed painting look. It looks like could be a framed painting or a window. And that allows me to keep a slither or a piece of the interesting marks that were before. And I love doing that. Like this one here, I had all the deep dark backgrounds, and then I was able to paint those door shapes and windows. And you know, you can just use your imagination as to what's going on out there, and it really looks like it's dark outside. And so I thought, well, this is reminding me a little bit of that. It's very dark blue kind of sky. So that's what I'm playing with. These two are on my mind, and I'm sort of a bit excited at getting back into painting after kind of patchy. I'd only been painting really little and even smaller than this. So these ones are a little bit bigger. And so I thought I would capture them now as they are before I go ahead and make changes today and maybe this week, and then maybe circle back around and show you what they ended up as. When I was in Tokyo, I went to IKEA because I couldn't help myself, and I fell in love with these cushion covers, and I was going to buy them. I particularly loved this one because it reminded me of the stones that I love, those round stones. And it also kind of reminded me a little bit of the Marimekko type vibe and that black and white thing. So I got them yesterday. We went to IKEA, and also got this piece of fabric. And we have these two chairs that we've just bought on Marketplace. And everything's looking a little bit beigey in here because the carpet's quite beigey and the chairs. And so I'm not going to do the how I'm going to make it because it's just going to be long and tedious. And I've been procrastinating long enough. But I thought it'd be quite fun to do the before. Here's the before. Okay, I'm back again. I might come backward and forward a few times and show you the next steps. So here I've done some stripes on that teapot. I've got to clean up the white a little bit. I put that grey line as if it was sort of a door jamb, and I was thinking I would paint in a wall behind this, because then it would make that foliage kind of pop out. And now, for the life of me, I'm having trouble figuring out what colour, how do I want to do that. Sometimes, you know, it's like I kind of marry myself a little bit to a palette. You know, when I stand back here, I've got this whole same palette going on, because I like that there can be harmony in the group of work, and that I'm not completely lost, misfiring, doing a different everything every time. So that's okay. But, you know, I'm noticing this one has got more light in it. So I might consider, could there be more dark? Because I know for myself, I love strong contrast. So I could consider, where could I bring in more contrast? Here is an example. I have taken a photo and taken this picture into Procreate and tried something out. I tried a couple of things, but this one, also you'll notice I glazed this one with quinacridone nickel azo gold, so it's got a warm hue all over it now. So I'm looking that this would be sort of a warmish green. It'll be interesting to try and mix a color that I like. Using the colors I've used would be the best way, because then it can remain in harmony. And so then I'm wondering, do I leave a section behind, which is exactly what I've done here. So you can see I'm doing something very similar, because wanting to find something for that space, I tried it with, I might be able to show you if I'm a bit able to, nope. Oh, okay, so I've gone ahead and I removed a chunk of that green. So if you can imagine, if all of that was still green, I tried doing sort of a couple of plates on the wall with the green behind, and I didn't think that really worked. They weren't in keeping with what's going on here. This has sort of got a mood and an elegance in some ways to it. It's a rainy day out. I gotta admit, I'm not entirely sure these are going to be right for a long time. Yeah, they remind me of feet. That pattern, it looks like lots of feet. Yeah, and this yeah, that's sort of the doggy couch. The dog gets on that couch and makes lots of fur, so we can't take the blanket off because it will be all fur on the white. So I know these cushions are going to have to probably be hidden a bit. I love the cushions, but I really am not convinced about this chair covers. But $30 of fabric from IKEA, one big piece, made 2 covers because it was 3 meters wide. So that was quite amazing. So I think we'll live with them for a little bit, but I'm not really convinced that this is the look I'm going for. Oh yeah. So a whole day's work, well, patchy, but along with apple cake, it was assisted. I noticed that this particular day, as I was sewing and Philip was in the kitchen making this cake, it was one of the first times I'd really felt at home in this place that we've moved into, sort of temporarily. We don't know for how long. And so it was quite a lovely, nurturing kind of day, even though the chair covers turned out in a way that I wasn't thrilled. It did show me that I could make two covers in a day. So I'll probably have to go at it again. But I'm really, really pleased that I had this day and took these little pictures and things to remember it with. And now, as I'm editing, I'm just trying to put this little sound bite in to be exactly the right length, which is a little bit tricky. So thanks for your patience with my bumpy editing. And also sewing always makes me feel like, reminds me of my mum. She was a brilliant sewer. So yeah, it was quite special really. The next morning, I did a bit of an abstract kind of painting feeling with this one. And I'm not sure I'm loving it. I think it needs something else on the table. I'm not sure I'm loving that tablecloth yet. What I'm noticing that I am not loving personally is that this feels dull. There's bright contrast, but there's not. This one has more brightness, which I personally am enjoying. And so I'm just not sure whether to change it again or leave it alone. I think I'm not happy with that abstract painting. That's too bitsy. I sort of might be feeling it might be better with a stronger, simpler, contemporary kind of pattern. And then I got this one off the shelf just to compare the greens and the feeling. And, you know, I love seeing them all together. They work nicely together. And so these two have got so much more light to them, which is my preference. This one's deeper, darker. But, you know, that might be somebody's favourite thing. I sometimes wonder about how the paintings go through different stages and moods. And that could have been perfect for somebody, but I keep pushing. But as the artist, you've just got to decide, what do you love? How do you want it to be? And keep going forward. Trying something new. I've got new wireless Me speakers and I really hope I can get them to work. I'm probably going to have to start using a camera as well, not my phone, but anyway, I've got to just keep going one bit at a time with the equipment, like just using my phone is what I've been doing. So I have been chatting about these quite a bit along the way. And now this week I thought I need to start on the next two. So I've got these two boards that I thought I might see if I can have a chat about. And there's a lot about these that I kind of enjoy already. What I love is that they've got so many differences of marks. And so yeah, but I think it comes in a way, as I'm looking at it, it's sort of like not having that confidence in the arena of abstract work. And it's also then, although it's my kind of colour palette, I don't know how to present that with this collection here. So my thought process is keep going with this kind of subject material so that I keep going with this series. I'm really keen this year to make more kind of cohesive bunches of work so that I can keep improving and growing and learning from a similar design. And so much so that I've been doing a 20-day drawing challenge, and it was 20 minutes a day for 20 days, 20 minutes a day. And I think the idea of it to begin with was really that people would paint, but I ended up going into drawing. I did a few little paintings, but I want to make another video and talk about that separately. But just today, what I did for the exercise, because I'm up to day 19 of 20, because I've missed a couple of days, and I really, I failed at the keeping it up every day, but I want to definitely do 20 days so that I can see, I didn't completely bail on it, because what I'm learning which I might talk about more obviously in that time. But I don't know if I like challenges. Not really my thing in a way, and yet it's made me do 20 things that I might not have done. So there's that. So what I thought, all right, so I'll take these two back down, but those will be the friends of this week, I think, that I will be bringing, taking somewhere new. And I also looked at a video of a year ago, and they were more simple than that, and they were on my big wall easel back in my home in Queensland. And so that was a year ago. So, you know, they've been waiting a while for me to come back to. So what I've got here is these two that I've been sharing about. And I got the idea that, oh, how do I want to change them? They feel a bit tight or whatever like that. And so I thought, oh, what if I loosely draw them in the style that I like to do and sort of change a couple of things up just for the fun of it. And so what's different about these is what I've put in the kind of corner frame. And mostly I've done this sort of thing, and I've been doing it a bit lately because it fills the frame, so there's lots going on, and it allows you to bring a whole new element that's in keeping with the thing or something different. So you haven't got a big void. It's quite funny because for years I think and I may even return to that, but I don't mind a big empty space with a little bit of texture or something. But at the moment it's sort of like that maximalist instead of minimalist, a little bit going on, I think. And I realized one gift of doing this drawing exercise was that when I put a loose kind of figure in these frames, it just made me feel really happy. I do love the figurative work, but I don't want to have a figure front and center in every single table setting. I want to be able to have fun with these table settings and kind of get looser and looser if I can. The mantra of 2024, is it going to be looser and looser? Like I think I was trying that last year, and so it goes on. Maybe I'll never let that go. I'm not sure, because maybe it's a quest for somebody who takes things and becomes more controlled or concise or overwork. Maybe sometimes that may be one of the biggest difficulties for us, is to have our work be loose. So that's the challenge, and I'd be interested if you have that same challenge or the desire to loosen, but it's not your natural way. It's interesting, isn't it? I think it's common for a lot of artists. You hear that term a lot. I just want to get looser. You really do hear that a lot, and I hear it a lot from myself, inside and from my voice. So I was thinking, will I make changes to these? And I almost feel like making a pact with myself. Don't make any more changes to these until I have worked on these two. So then I can look at the whole 6 of them and see how they're talking to each other. Although that one is quite different, but it's the same size board. So that's what I'm kind of curious to see about and working on this week. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I really hope that this sound is much better. Please feel free to let me know if it's fabulous. If it's awful, I guess let me know that too. God, I hope I can get this thing working, because it's been the bane of my life, the whole learning tech for making these. So yeah, I'll turn it off here and see how that's gone.